Giants, Red Sox, Pirates, Orioles, Cubs. Some players are synonymous with the jersey they wore. The Cardinals have one. Their fans are hoping there'll be two.
And that's got a chance to be the biggest story in baseball in the offseason. Will Albert Pujols stay in St. Louis his entire career like Stan the Man did? The statue of Stan Musial outside here at New Busch Stadium. Albert Pujols, a free agent at the end of the season, who picked up career hit number 2,000 on Friday night. Received a huge ovation, of course, from all of his fans here in St. Louis. Follow Buster Olney and Wendy Nix on Twitter to join the talk about all things Sunday Night Baseball. Add hashtag ESPN SNB to your tweets. Let us know what's on your mind. Also, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ESPN Baseball Tonight. Mike Quade, first full year as manager of the Chicago Cubs, trying to view the glass as half full in spite of the issues that the Cubs have had this year. Just 42-65 on the season. Let's take a look now at our starting lineup presented by Taco Bell for the Cubs. Reed Johnson leads it off at right. 21-year-old Starlin Castro batting second and short. Aramis Ramirez batting third and playing third. Carlos Pena, the first baseman, is the cleanup hitter. Marlon Byrd in center field batting fifth. Alfonso Soriano batting sixth. Rookie Darwin Barney at second base batting seventh. Coy Hill is the catcher tonight, and pitching tonight for the Cubs is Ryan Dempster. Jake Westbrook is on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals. Reed Johnson is ready to go as the Cubs try to salvage the final game of this series. And the Cardinals try to keep the heat on to Milwaukee. The Brewers winning earlier today 5-4 over Houston. First pitch of the night, a little bit outside, says home plate umpire Jim Wolf. You're looking at right-hander Jake Westbrook, who has won his last two starts. This ball is popped down the right side and back out of play. A ball and a strike on Johnson. Reed Johnson been out a few days with the flu, which has been going around the Cubs clubhouse. Can play all three outfield spots. Hits better against lefties. But Mike Quade wanted to get him back in the lineup tonight because they will face a lefty, Paul Maholm, tomorrow night in Pittsburgh. And of course, a little more time available in the Cubs outfield ever since the trade of Kosuke Fukudome to the Indians a few days ago. There's a ground ball, and that's what Jake Westbrook is looking for with that sinker of his. The Cardinals have not been a great defensive team this year, although the hope is that they will improve with some of the changes they've made. Matt Holliday, John Jay, Lance Berkman, left to right in the outfield. David Freese, Daniel Descalso at short again. Rafael Furcal is here, but not in the lineup. Skip Schumacher, Albert Pujols on the right side of the infield. Yadier Molina catching Westbrook. John Jay, Bobby's got a chance to be an everyday player right now.
Yeah, with Rasmus being traded, he's the center fielder. He's a good defensive player. He throws the ball well, and I think is an upgrade on anything they've had there in center field this year.
Another ground ball, weakly hit toward third, charging Freese, and he'll throw out Castro, two down.
Jake Westbrook right off the bat, back in the rocking chair. His last two starts have been outstanding. It's because of the sinking fastball that Westbrook throws. With that going down, exceptional movement. Coming into the game, 59.2% of his outs this season have been on the ground. That's #1 in the big leagues.
And quickly, a couple of ground ball outs here in the top of the first. It'll bring up Aramis Ramirez. The free agent to be has been on a tear over the last couple of months. He's got 17 home runs in his last 48 games, 19 on the season. No trade clause by virtue of being a 10-5 guy, 10 years in the majors, the last 5 with his current team. So he has veto rights over all trades. So the Cubs didn't unload a ton of payroll. They got rid of Fukudome, who's also in the last year of his contract, but they're still carrying some big contracts. Ramirez, Zambrano, Soriano, and tonight's starting pitcher, Ryan Dempster. Just low.
Threw it on 2-1. He'll probably come right back with the sinker here with 2 out, nobody on, just trying to get him to hit a ground ball again.
Got the ball up, but it's popped up by Ramirez. And the inning is over. 3 up and 3 down to go the Cubs. Ryan Dempster to the mound for Chicago. When we come back, facing a guy who's hit him awfully hard in his career, Albert Pujols. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. The St. Louis Cardinals are the highest scoring team in the National League this season as they come up at the bottom of the first. No score between the Cards and the Cubs here at Busch Stadium. Let's check out tonight's Cardinals starting lineup. Presented by Taco Bell. Skip Schumacher leads off at second base. John Jay, you've seen him already out in center field batting second. And then the 3, 4, 5 hitters, Albert Pujols, Matt Holliday, Lance Berkman. What a trio. David Freese at third base batting sixth. Yadier Molina catching it batting seventh. Daniel Descalso batting eighth and playing short. And then Jake Westbrook on the mound. On the mound for the Cubs tonight, Oral Hershiser, Ryan Dempster.
Ryan Dempster, you see 7 and 8 with a 4.98. That ERA is awfully high, but in his last 9 starts, 3.15. He has started to get it together. Fastball, split finger, slider.
And a pitch a little bit down and in for ball 1 to Schumacher. Schumacher's played some second, also has played a little bit in the outfield this year, hitting .286. Down to first. Nice play by Carlos Pena. Now John Jay, the guy who had already started to get a lot of playing time out in center field before Colby Rasmus was traded. Rasmus was slumping. Jay hitting over 300. You like this player, huh?
Yeah, I like him. He has a lot of moving parts to his swing, but he centers it up very well. And he has power, he uses all the fields, and he runs well. I think he's a good player.
Outside, ball 1.
Many people will see that move that he has as he approaches the ball, but the move is the correct move with the back elbow coming up and the back getting into the launching position.
Up the middle, diving stop by Barney, but all he can do is knock it down. It'll be an infield hit for Jay.
Batting third, number 5, first baseman, Albert Pujols.
Now, for 11 years, they've been enjoying the magnificence of Albert Pujols here in St. Louis. Got off to a slow start this season. Missed a couple of weeks after breaking the bone in his wrist. But he's hot again, and he always seems to be hot from Ryan Dempster's perspective. His last 5 hits off Dempster have been home runs. Orel is a pitcher when you just know what the numbers are going into the at bat. What do you do?
Well, he's hitting him at a 327 clip. He's 16 for 49 over his career. But when you're as hot as Albert's been and hitting him for damage, that's your first goal. He might get his hits, but keep the damage down. So first and foremost, no extra base hits. After that, if you get him out, it's an extra bonus. But you expect a guy like Albert Pujols to get his hits. You have to get the people in the lineup that you're supposed to get out. You expect the good hitters to get a few hits. They're 1 for 3s, they're 2 for 4s. But what you try to eliminate against the great hitters like Albert is the damage.
Exactly, Earl. But he is much too comfortable. We watched those at-bats where he's able to foul off pitches 6 inches off the plate. I really think you have to move his feet a little.
You know, Bobby, exactly. I was studying all those at-bats, and the one thing I noticed is he really never doubled up with his fastball inside. So if it was a fastball in, immediately went to the slider or the split. And sometimes you have to double up in there. Maybe the first one is kind of a purpose pitch, a little higher above the waist, not at the head, but make him move his shoulders, change his spine angle, and then come right back in there with a fastball. Don't go directly to the off-speed pitch.
And he did climb the ladder with a fastball there that Pujols fouled back.
It's like a waste pitch, Earl, and he has a great home run swing at it. He's so comfortable that you either walk him or you throw the ball out of the zone. But if you're going to try to get him out, you really have to make him less comfortable. And I don't mean hit him with a pitch and definitely not throw at his head, but at least make him move his feet.
And here's that exact situation where he could come back with a fastball instead of going away soft right away.
To center field, and the catch made by Bird, 2 down. So he did go with a splitter or changeup down and away, and Pujols basically one-handed it to left center field.
It looked like the split, and the fastball up and in did get Albert sped up a little bit, and a little makes him reach, and Albert really gets himself out there. He has to extend, and on the at-bats that ended in home runs over the last 2 years, that pitch right there would have ended up a foul ball, and then the next pitch or the pitch after it ended up being a mistake that Ryan would make, and Albert would get him there. But fortunately for the Cubs, he hit him in play for an out.
Another dangerous hitter in Matt Holliday.
He's a dangerous runner too, isn't he?
Yeah.
When he's sliding, running, and
Castro.
sliding in the second.
Yeah, we showed you the slide in the highlights that we showed at the top of the show. Matt Holliday breaking up a double play out at second base yesterday. His spikes catching Starlin Castro, the Cubs shortstop, on the lower part of his leg. And some discussion as to whether Holliday's slide was clean or dirty or somewhere in between. Ironically, Marlon Byrd, the center fielder of the Cubs, came out today on his blog and defended the slide. He said, if I were in that situation, I would have done exactly the same thing.
Wrong thing.
So you're saying it was not a clean slide?
No, it wasn't a clean slide.
But I'm saying, as a teammate, you don't come out and support the other team publicly. Whether you believe that or not, you just hold your tongue. I didn't think it was a clean slide in today's day and game. I thought it was very hard, possibly borderline, but borderline for me on the side that it should have been an automatic double play.
Marlon Byrd saying, if I'm in that situation and I'm playing to win, I do exactly the same thing. Byrd said the only thing about it, and Orel, you commented on this, was that Holliday didn't hit the dirt, didn't get down until he was pretty much past the bag.
But the left foot's always on the ground as you run, of course, so by the time his hip hits, he's 6 feet past the bag. That's late. I think you get away with that angle if you slide at the conventional time prior to the bag. But I think when you're that long in the air with your hip, and really could not reach the bag because of not really the angle and the width as much as he was still up in the air. He couldn't reach down and touch the bag.
You're right, Earl. This isn't close. This should have been a double play. It's not a debatable slide, I don't think. I mean, there's no reason to justify it.
Holiday called out on strikes to end the inning. No runs, a base, and a demand left. No score at the end of one. Top of the second, no score here at Busch Stadium. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Dan Schulman to Bobby Valentine. Oral Hershiser with you. Also Buster Olney, Wendy Nix. Carlos Pena leading it off against Jake Westbrook. Pena, the first baseman for the Cubs. Wow. And a guy who there was some speculation about, would he be traded? You heard his interview before the game. Good power hitter, very good defensive player, has not hit for much of an average the last couple of years. Says he's glad to still be a Cub because of the project that they have, that meaning to get this club back to respectability. It's quite a project right now at 42 and 65, and with some pretty significant contracts extending beyond this year. Pena's not among them. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Jim Henry, though, some money will be freed up for them to go out and make some changes, look into some free agents in the offseason. But boy, they are saddled with some big deals.
Project or a term paper? I don't see it as a short-term project.
No.
Right away.
Zambrano signed for one more year. Dempster signed for one more year. Soriano signed through 2014. And Bobby, as you look at this team, what are the building blocks for
First
this team
thing
right
that
now?
has to be changed is the attitude. Obviously, that's what begins the winning motion. You see what Pittsburgh's doing this year, and you see what Cleveland's doing. No one picked Cleveland to have this kind of season, nor Pittsburgh to have this kind of talent.
On the appeal, he went, and Pena is gone. So how do you change that attitude, Bobby?
Well, you know, Mike Quaddy's right there, and he had it going last year. He changed the attitude from what was a very depressing, dismal attitude under Lou Piniella to a more upbeat one, where it was a learning environment and a happy environment. They got off to a bad start this year, and it just snowballed. in the wrong direction.
After Mike Quade took over last year for Lou Piniella, the Cubs went 24-13. That, of course, was a huge reason why Quade was given the job on a permanent basis. Got a 2-year deal out of it. But now 23 games under 500. Their low water mark of the season. With the 6th highest payroll in baseball at about $125 million.
I was talking to Mike before the game, and it really is miserable during these stretches, and you get very lonely at the top. And Mike was very thankful for having so many friends in baseball who have called him, given him words of encouragement to get him through this period. And I think he's going to be all right. I think he's going to right the ship eventually.
Swing and a miss by Marlon Byrd. 2 down.
This is a variation, this last pitch that Westbrook threw, Dan. It is a off-speed sinker, a changeup for him. 81. Normal sinker for him is around 88 miles an hour, and that's just a little changeup he and Dave Duncan have worked on. That all had great depth, plus the off-speed differential of 7 miles an hour.
And you can see when Byrd was walking back toward the dugout, he walked by Alfonso Soriano and made a little motion with his hand, showing him the movement of that last pitch. It's like not something they were expecting. Soriano with a tapper back to the mound, and the Cubs are gone quickly again. Jake Westbrook 6 up and 6 down in a groove early to the bottom of the 2nd. No score. Here in St. Louis, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. No score between the Cubs and the Cardinals. The Cardinals looking to complete the sweep and get back within a game and a half of Milwaukee atop the National League Central here on trade deadline day. We'll recap the trades over the course of the evening. Bring in Buster Olney. You'll hear from Carl, John Barry as well. They're here in St. Louis. You're looking at the National League leader in home runs, Lance Berkman, just back in the lineup after missing 4 games with a sore right shoulder. Has been trying to talk his way back into the lineup, and Tony La Russa told us before the game that he said to Berkman, okay, but once I put you in, you got to stay in. We can't have you out of the lineup again. If you're not ready to go, let us know now. We can DL, you sit you down, whatever, but they got a series coming up with Milwaukee starting tomorrow. So this is a crucial time for the Cardinals.
And the swing you saw on that pitch is the swing that Tony wants to see. He doesn't want him diving in the outfield, diving on the bases, and he wants him to take a full rhythmic swing. If he's off balance, take, because if he extends that bat, his shoulder will go.
Got the shoulder out of the way of that pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So there's no reaching on pitches low and away, and there's no attempting to hit the pitch that's up and out of the zone. He's got to stay in his zone and take a full, complete swing every time he swings so he doesn't aggravate the shoulder.
Hit .393 in the month of April. Of course, it's cooled off some since then, but still having a great season for the Cardinals.
MVP candidate right now.
Chase is down low for the first out.
That was a very controlled swing where he was being protective of that shoulder. He didn't want to really reach out and foul that off. You see, he gets there, and this is a right shoulder problem that he has. When he misses it, he's just going to try to hold on with both hands and protect that front shoulder.
Yeah, that was the key there for me, to see that he's protecting his right shoulder by not releasing that top hand. In comparison to what we saw Albert do when he had the splitter away about a foot off the plate and released the top hand and flicked it out to center field.
There's David Freese, the third baseman, putting up some solid numbers. Has had some injuries this year, but went in there. Just another reason why the Cardinals have been such a good offensive team here in 2011. Not a lot of weak spots. Freese hitting 6th. Yadier Molina hitting 7th. Dempster a little bit frustrated, missing high a lot with his pitches here in the early going. As Molina waits on deck.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good release point on his off-speed stuff so far, but the fastball location has not been there yet.
Foul ball. David Freese back on Friday, launching a 3-run shot to deep left center field. Part of a 9-2 win for the Cardinals over the Cubs. And then yesterday, right center field. And this is a pretty fair ballpark. You got to hit it pretty well to get it out of here from gap to gap. David Freese showing impressive power. Castro at short, low throw, dug out by Pena, 2 down. Now we'll have a Baseball Tonight update coming up for you out of the next break before the top of the third. They'll be talking a little bit about some of the trades. Of course, San Francisco picked up Carlos Beltran and Orlando Cabrera. Hunter Pence to Philadelphia. If you didn't hear it today, the Atlanta Braves gave up a couple of minor league players and picked up Michael Bourne, who has almost as many steals as the Braves do this season. They've got 42, and he's got 39. And even teams you don't associate with being buyers this time of year, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Arizona Diamondbacks making some moves. The Pirates picking up Ryan Ludwig and Derek Lee, a couple of veteran right-handed bats, and Arizona going for some pitching and starter Jason Marquis and reliever Brad Ziegler. What do you guys think about the National League moves?
Well, the Arizona with Marquis, that's some much needed depth in that rotation with Kennedy and Owings, and that'll help Kirk Gibson in his quest there to win the West.
Diamondbacks right now 2 games back of the Giants in the National League West.
And the Giants got Orlando Cabrera to be a steady defender at shortstop, and I think he will be just that. And they got Beltran to be an offensive force. I'm not sure he'll be an offensive force in that lineup.
Because?
I just think it's too much to ask one guy to come in and be the one star of the team. He's a hired gun. He's coming in. He's having a very, very good year, but that's a team that's built around magic, around everyone contributing. And to think one guy is going to make a big difference, I don't think so.
Nice to see the Pirates being buyers for the first time in a long time, picking up Ludwig and Lee. They're 4.5 out of the National League Central. Cardinals are second. Brewers are the leaders right now. And for Atlanta, too, not making a deal early. Brian McCann going on the DL. A boost for them, getting Michael Bourne to be their leadoff hitter today in a trade with Houston. Line down to third and caught by Ramirez. Molina retired, and that ends the bottom of the second. Scoreless through 2. Carl, thank you. To the top of the third here inside Busch Stadium. No score. Cubs into Cardinals. Darwin Barney, the rookie second baseman for the Cubs, leads it off and takes a strike from Jake Westbrook. Led Oregon State to the College World Series a few years back when Oral Hershiser was in Omaha covering that.
He was a good player on that team, and he's going to be a good player with the Cubs.
Nice play back on the mound by Westbrook for out number 1. Let's send it down to Buster Olney, the hardest working man in America this week, with his thoughts on some of the winners at the trade deadline. Buster?
Dan, I talked to an executive after the trade deadline, and he said that within his office, all of the executives and scouts were polled who had the best trade deadline work. The biggest winner, in their opinion, in unanimous selection, the Texas Rangers, because they had Mike Adams and Koji Uehara, 2 dominant setup guys to help run Washington, their manager. I also thought San Francisco, Philadelphia, Atlanta did well in adding bats for the pennant drive.
Well, Mike Adams and Koji Uehara may not be household names like Carlos Beltran and some Ubaldo Jimenez and some of the other players who move. But Bobby, we were talking about this a couple of hours ago. The Texas Rangers picked up 2 of the best right-handed setup men in all of baseball this year. They might have just made games into 6-inning affairs.
Well, their starting pitching has been outstanding, and they've gone deep into the game this entire season. This will allow Ron Washington to pull them back just a little in these dog days of the summer and save them for the playoffs.
Interesting here in St. Louis how widespread the opinions were and are about what the Cardinals did. Of course, they got Rafael Furcal today, and everybody says, hey, he'll help them defensively, steady D, good veteran, and so forth. But the Colby Rasmus trade, as Blake DeWitt chases the ball, or Coy Hill, excuse me, chases the ball inside for out number 2. The Colby Rasmus trade, long term, was not thought of very favorably at all here in St. Louis because of the upside that he has. But the Cardinals did get back Edwin Jackson, Mark Zepchinski, Octavio Dotel, and Corey Patterson. And as we discussed earlier, John Mozeliak improved his team's starting rotation, bullpen, defense, and depth in the short term. Now, at the end of the year, all those players could be gone except Zepchinski. But there's no disputing, Bobby, is there, that the Cardinals are a better team for the next 2 months than they were the first 4 months?
I don't think there's any disputing that.
And Jake Westbrook's just not going to give you a chance to say anything meaningful at all. Come on, Jake.
The gateway to the West says St. Louis. To tourists. And to those who'd rather stay home, preferably on the couch, this city means beer. But the people who live here know better. This town is about baseball.
That it is. They love their baseball here in St. Louis. At the shadow of the arch. Such a great tradition, so much great history for the St. Louis Cardinals, including a World Series championship. As recently as 2006, so many Hall of Famers, retired numbers, some of the greatest players the game has ever seen played here in St. Louis. And they're hoping for another deep postseason run this year. That some of the acquisitions made by General Manager John Mozeliak, who incidentally will join us in the booth in the bottom of the 5th inning, that some of those acquisitions will really pay off over the next couple of months. Bobby, as you were saying, when you were so rudely interrupted, they're a better baseball team now than they were last week, right? For the short term.
For the short term, indeed. When we saw them early in the season, they were deficient in their bullpen. They had troubles catching ground balls up the middle. They needed a little more power arm in their staff because they had so many ground ball pitchers. Now they have Jackson, who you see right here, who has a power arm. He got 4 Ks the other day, going 7 innings. As for college shortstop, will pick it up better in the middle of the infield, and they've really added depth to their bullpen.
Octavio Dotel, Mark Zepchinski coming over from Toronto, Kyle McClellan going back to the pen. Out of the rotation, Daniel Descalso, first pitch swinging. Fly ball to right field, and there to make the play, Reed Johnson. 1 pitch, 1 out. Descalso can play second, short, and third. If Furcal gets a lot of time at short, he'll become a utility guy. Terrio could move to second. Schumacher can play second, but he can also play out in the outfield. And Tony La Russa is always fond of using all 25 players on his roster, so he'll make sure that everybody gets in there. Jake Westbrook 3 for 30 swinging the bat this year. And quickly in the hole 0-2.
Dan, you mentioned Tony La Russa likes to use lineups. He uses this year as many lineups as anyone in the National League. And Earl, you were a little surprised Terrio wasn't in there today because
he's had 2 multi-hit games the first time in his career. So I think he was like 6 for his last 7
in this series.
And he doesn't get to play today, and it's a little odd that you wouldn't want to keep him hot. Also 2 3 RBI games back to back for the first time in his career.
Swing and a miss, the tag applied, 2 down. Each pitcher has now faced 9 hitters. 17 of the 18 men to bat in this game have been retired. All we've got in terms of a base runner is John Jay of the Cardinals, who had an infield hit back in the first. Back to the top of the order for the Cardinals now, and Schumacher.
Be interesting to see when the Cubs come up if they make any adjustment trying to hit that sinker, and they have to hit it the other way.
Dempster will throw the whole kitchen sink at you with his split and his slider and his fastball.
Ground ball to short, Castro, and the inning is over. End of 3, no score. Top of the order for the Cubs. Reed Johnson, Starla to Castro, Aramis Ramirez. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. 5-Hour Energy fixes tired fast. Visit 5hourenergy.com. With Oral Hershiser and Bobby Valentine, I'm Dan Schulman. It's Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. No score, Cubs and Cardinals to the 4th inning. Westbrook has retired all 9 batters he's faced. Reed Johnson leading it off. Johnson with the ground ball to short his first time up. Off the glove of Freese, bounces to Descalso, and they got him. Just your routine 5-6-3.
Freese is a good defensive player, and when you see when that ball is fielded there by the shortstop, he has a good throw to first base. But that was the first move by Freese, deflecting that ball to DeSalvo, so he could make that throw.
Of the 10 outs, Westbrook has recorded 6 of them on the ground. 3 strikeouts. Now this will be the second one in the air of the 11 outs that he's recorded. 2 down.
His core pitch is the sinking fastball, but he's also mixed in the cutter to lefties to keep him off of it. Right there, the cutter in to Pena. Cutter in there, swing and miss. But to the righties, he's had the sinker going. He's had the changeup going below the zone, and also the slider. So the core pitch is the sinker, but he's done a good job mixing all his pitches in so he doesn't get in a rut.
Sharply hit, but right at the second baseman Schumacher. Aramis Ramirez, and the Cubs are retired on 4 pitches in the 4th inning. Albert Pujols due up second for the Cardinals when we come back. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Bottom of the 4th inning, no score, just 1 hit in the game. An infield hit back in the 1st inning by the man leading off the 4th for the Cardinals, center fielder John Jay. Jake Westbrook, Ryan Dempster, both very sharp. Dempster wants Coy Hill to start the signs over against Jay with Albert Pujols on deck. Matt Holliday behind him. Heart of the order here for the Cardinals. Way out in front of that slow breaking ball. The count's 0-1.
The first ball in the last 16 pitches before the 2 pitchers in a row. These guys have been attacking the strike zone. 15 in a row.
Ground ball to short. A busy night so far for Castro, and he just did get Jay at first. So one down as Albert Pujols comes up for the second time tonight. Pujols with a fly ball to center field his first time up. 7 home runs in his career against Ryan Dempster, 5 of them in his most recent 10 at-bats against Dempster. You won't get a better one to hit than that one.
K-zone like that one. That's the kind of pitch you need against a future Hall of Famer.
Albert in St. Louis gets that pitch. Ball.
Down the right side and racing into foul territory, Johnson, but it's beyond his reach. Pujols, 31 years of age, just surpassed 2,000 hits, well over 400 home runs. Three-time most valuable player, and still potentially, in spite of the slow start and the injuries that he's had, still potentially on his way to another 30-homer and 100 RBI season.
That's some respect, though, out on the mound. They've got a meeting to go over the 1-2 pitch with 1 out, nobody on to you. That's some serious respect.
Hill's been reading the stats also. He hasn't seen all those home runs, but he knows he wears them out.
Castro back into shallow left field to make the catch, and Albert is 0 for 2. Between innings, Buster Olney had a chance to catch up with Cub manager Mike Quade.
Mike Quade, what are you seeing in your pitcher, Ryan Dempster?
He's changing speeds, he's locating, he does what he does. When he's got a good slider and he's keeping the ball down and away, he's in great shape.
When you see a pitcher like Jake Westbrook in such a rhythm, what would you like to see out of your hitters in this situation?
Well, he's pounding the strike zone, he's down, he's throwing ground balls, that's what he does. You know, we can get some people on, maybe try and create a little bit, but yeah, I mean, you've just got to put good swings on him because he's down and he's in the strike zone all day long.
Mike, thanks. Dan, back to you.
Well, both pitchers have certainly been in a groove. No score, bottom of the 4th, 2 outs. Matt Holliday, the batter. 24 men have come to the plate so far in this game. 3 of them have hit the ball out of the infield. Holliday not among them, struck out looking to end the first.
Well, you know, there was a very aggressive slide last night. Some people thought maybe Dempster might let Holliday know that it wasn't appreciated. When he came to the plate tonight, 2 outs, nobody on, perfect opportunity. He was going to do anything and say, hey, listen, that's our young shortstop out there. We really want his future to be a bright one, and we don't want guys like you at 6'4", 230 taking cheap shots. But that message wasn't sent.
It wasn't sent last night in the at-bats after that incident, and it wasn't sent today, so they're just turning the page and moving on.
Castro getting spiked by Holliday on that slide to break up the double play yesterday.
Tell you what, if the shoe was on the other foot, I'm not sure it would be the same way.
I agree with you 100%.
I think Tony's got a little bit more eye for an eye in him, and sometimes it's even 2 for 1. And you know, he's old school, and you know what, it shows the heart of the team, the heart of a champion, but he's going to protect everybody on that roster.
And Tony La Russa has been a manager for the last 33 years, and there's an intensity about him and his players that lasts all 162 games because of the way that he drives them.
And when you have, as I say, it's Starlin Castro is the guy that you're building your team around, and you have this ball, and you have this big guy coming in, not only going out of his way, but kicking at his shin, getting nowhere near the bag when he's finished. The umpire should have called it, but if not, I really believe something's got to be said.
Holiday strikes out again. We're at the end of 4. No score at Busch Stadium. Coverage of Major League Baseball continues. First on a Monday Night Baseball, the Indians look to remain in the hunt for the AL Central title. They'll take on the Red Sox tomorrow night at 7 Eastern. Then it's Wednesday Night Baseball, the Yankees in Chicago to face the White Sox at 8 Eastern. Both games also available online at ESPN3.com. 3 teams within 4 games of one another atop the American League Central. The Tigers lead it, 2.5 up on the Indians, 4 up on the White Sox. The Twins are 7 out. Interesting Tigers game today. The Tigers and the Angels. Justin Verlander taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning. As Carlos Pena leads off the 5th for the Cubs. No score here. And then some fireworks. Jared Weaver threw over the head of Alex Avila. This was after Carlos Guillen admired a home run, which was apparently because he was upset. Weaver got upset at Ordonez earlier after he felt Ordonez might have admired a home run. I think the heat's getting to everybody. Between innings, Wendy Nix with Tony La Russa.
Tony, your starting pitcher appears to have found his rhythm. What have you seen from Jake Westbrook?
Well, I agree with you. He's throwing quality strikes with all his pitches. He's been aggressive. Forces the other side to swing early because he gets ahead.
The Cardinals will as active as any team in the major leagues heading into this trading deadline. What do you make of the moves that were made?
Well, first of all, I think it's a compliment to our fans. You know, they supported us. We're going to draw $3 million again, and we have a chance to win. You got to show that they're going to come through, and I think we really improved the club. Every place that we needed some help, they hit it, and now we got to play well.
Tony, thank you. Dan?
All right, Wendy, thank you. John Mozeliak, again, the VP and GM of the St. Louis Cardinals, will join us in the bottom half of this inning to look at what the Cardinals accomplished over the last few days. Marlon Byrd, the batter, still wearing that guard on his batting helmet. Remember, suffered multiple facial fractures, hit by a pitch a couple of months ago, missed 6 weeks. So back playing again, but playing with some protection. Bobby, I know you took some interest in that Angel Tiger game today. What went on between those two teams. First of all, Verlander is just unbelievable at this point. And what do you think of the whole situation that developed there?
Well, I thought it was rather childish. You know, I've talked about moving people's feet, and I've talked about some respect that you should show for your teammates, and neither time was I talking about someone being hit in the head. Marlon Byrd did get hit in the head earlier in the year, and today there's a ball.
Line to third, caught by Freese, 2 down.
Thrown totally over the head by Jared Washburn, and that's ridiculous. I mean,
Weaver.
Jared Weaver. I mean, it's just a ridiculous situation when major league pitchers who are throwing the ball 95 miles an hour throw the ball toward the head of a batter. I mean, we should have better control. We should know how to knock someone down. Or when was the last time you really saw someone knocked down? Not hit, but knocked down.
Yeah, it's a rarity, and I think it's a little bit on the hitter's standpoint, but they don't get out of the way and know how to get out of the way properly, and I think you see pitchers that really don't know how to knock people down or at least pitch inside off the plate. I'll tell you what, it was a great game. Dan.
It was.
It was a great game.
Had a playoff intensity about it right from the beginning. Soriano with the ground ball up the middle. Descalso spins and fires and gets him. What a play. And what a 5 innings so far for Jake Westbrook. TV, baseball everywhere. Watch over 100 live out-of-market games per week online and on your favorite devices. Visit MLB.tv for details. Quite a pitcher's duel they've got going here. The Cubs and Cardinals. We're going to the bottom of the 5th. No score, just 1 hit in the game in front of another packed house here at Busch Stadium as the Cardinals go for a sweep of the Cubs here on Sunday Night Baseball. Lance Berkman, who struck out his first time up, will lead it off here in the 5th against Ryan Dempster. Well, we said earlier, Buster Olney has probably been the busiest man in America over the last week. Tied for second would be the 30 Major League general managers. There's Buster, enjoying some downtime, but still tweeting and digging and trying to find out anything he can. And we are pleased to be joined now by the Senior Vice President and General Manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, John Mozeliak, who had you had a busy week yourself, I gather. Huh?
We did.
Yeah.
We had a lot to do, and obviously we used the last few days to try to accomplish a lot of that. And by improving our rotation, our bullpen, and our defense, we feel really good about where we are.
Of course, made 2 trades. The Colby Rasmus deal with Toronto as Lance Berkman strikes out, and then acquiring Rafael Furcal today. Let's start with the first trade. Was that something that came together quickly, or was this something you'd been working on for a while?
You know, we never intended to move Colby Rasmus in this whole process, but as we got closer to the 31st, we started to gain a lot more interest in him. And one of the things we wanted to do was, well, how do you improve your rotation, get more right-handed relief help, get a left-hand reliever, and not have to just strip your minor league system apart. So in doing so, we ended up looking at Colby Rasmus to use him in that deal, and we really accomplished a lot to get that deal done.
And in essence, a 3-way trade, really, because the White Sox and Blue Jays had to get something done in order to facilitate your trade with Toronto.
Exactly. We needed to get something big back, and we wanted someone at the top of the rotation that we could fit in there.
If you're going to buy, you have to have currency, and you used the currency that you had. I think you made great purchases this time of the year for this season.
Well, thank you. And you're right. Every deal costs you something, and it was either going to be younger or older.
There's a ball sliced down the right field line, but foul.
Toronto matched up nicely where they wanted to get more athletic in center field, and Colby happened to be that type of person and player they were looking for.
Yeah, they were very persistent, I will say that, and they kept looking at different ways to make this deal happen. And so as we started to go through all the different iterations on dealing with the other clubs that may have interest, it really came down to this was the one place we could put Colby where we'd get the return that we felt could really address a lot of problems.
1-2 pitch to Freeze is high.
And the biggest problem was probably the tail end of the game. Nothing more disappointing for a team to be ahead and then to lose the game after the 7th inning.
Yeah, I think when you look at our club from a pitching standpoint, the rotation started to hemorrhage a little bit, and so we really felt we needed to do something there to help. But then by getting a starter, it allowed us to put Kyle McCullum back into the rotation. I think that was a big boost.
A drive to deep right center field. It is in play, and it'll be a double for Freeze. Just shy of hitting it out of the park. Some of the Cardinal players aren't so sure that ball did not leave the ballpark.
John David's been swinging the bat very well, driving the ball gap to gap, and that was another ball hit very well to the right center field gap.
How are you on Busch Stadium ground rules?
I'd like to see a replay.
Right off the top of the wall. No, I think it's the top of the wall. I think that ball's in play.
Well, you had one just a few days ago here against Houston, I think. Albert Pujols hit one to left center. There's padding, and then there's just a small bit of concrete right behind the padding. The padding, the green wall, is in play, but the concrete is a home run, right? It's beyond the field of play?
I believe that's how they interpreted the last one, and it looks like very similar to the other day.
Well, there's a little strip of concrete there, isn't there? Boy, that reminded me so much, Earl, of a ball that Todsdale hit at Shea Stadium. Stayed in the ballpark.
Really
Yankee
hard.
Stadium, I mean, in World Series.
It's really hard for the umpires to determine whether this ball hits the concrete or not. Boy.
I'm sure going to go take a look at it. We'll have a video review here as 3 of the umpires will make their way down into the tunnel and look at it. Again, if it hits the green padded wall and bounces back, it is in the field of play. But our understanding is if it hits the concrete or the plants or anything like that behind the outfield fence, then it is a home run. From that look right there, now I'm starting to think just a double.
I think it's a double because concrete usually gives you a little more of a carom than that, doesn't it? A little common sense has to be used possibly here, but here it is, a close-up.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys, because think about if the ball hits the padding and then grazes the concrete, the ball's just going to come off like it did, kind of come up and be flat.
It's amazing how eerily similar this is to what happened. What night was it? Tuesday?
Yep.
I think Tuesday night against Houston when Albert Pujols hit one to left center field. Well, the umpires have obviously made their decision quickly. They've come back on the field, and it is going to be a double for Freeze.
Well, Tony La Russa complimented the fans, and one of the reasons that you go out and get more players because you're going to draw $3 million again, and fans not happy with that call, though.
Well, when you think about the Cardinals, I mean, we are so grateful for the support we get because it's not just here in St. Louis; it's a regional fan base, and obviously getting over $3 million a year really helps us do the things we can do here.
One more look at the ball there, looking like it hits just the top of the green padded wall. The umpires obviously very quickly, that's as quick a review I think as we've ever seen, as they went down and decided that it is indeed a double. It's the first time there has been a runner in scoring position in this game. Freeze at second with one out, no score in the bottom of the fifth. We are joined by John Mozeliak, the senior vice president and general manager of the Cardinals, here in the booth at Busch Stadium. The batter is Yadier Molina. Let's talk, John, about the other acquisition this week, Rafael Furcal. How did that one come together?
Well, that one came together rather quickly, and we were looking for some defensive help all along. And through this whole process, we had identified a few players of interest, but when it came down to it, Dodgers were looking for a minor league prospect, and so it ended up being a good match for us. But he'll be a nice fit for us because obviously he's someone that can hit at the top of the order, and defensively he is playing well.
Now to play 1-1. Do you feel added pressure to win this year because of the support you're getting from your fans? And I guess the second part of the question is a tough one to answer, but you know, the elephant in the room is Albert Pujols is going into free agency potentially at the end of the season. Is there added pressure to win this year because of that?
Well, I think that's a great question, and one that there is a small window here, and we don't know what 2012 is going to bring. So anything we can do right now to win for today, I think we had to put our best foot forward. You know, we are hopeful that we can sign Albert, and we're going to do everything we can this offseason to try to do that. But in the meantime, you have to deal with today.
And it was a busy and productive week, certainly for the St. Louis Cardinals. On the whole, just the landscape around baseball over the last few days, anything surprise you about what did or didn't happen?
No, I think a lot of teams made some smart decisions, and they took their clubs in the directions they should.
And your team is definitely better today than it was last week.
Well, we feel that way. I mean, you know, obviously you got to play the game and find out, but the areas we addressed, we knew we had to.
Oh, exactly. The pegs all fit. Now, whether or not they acclimate themselves to this team and start playing together with this team, which is really a major challenge this time of the season.
To right field, tough play for Johnson as he makes the running catch. Freeze will tag and come to third with two down. Well, there may be no division in baseball that is more tightly bunched and more competitive right now than the National League Central, with the Cardinals entering play tonight, two back of the Brewers, who beat Houston today. Pittsburgh lost to Philadelphia again, so they've dropped to 4.5 back. But remember, they added Derek Lee and Ryan Ludwig. And then Cincinnati is now 6.5 back. They beat the Giants 9-0 today. We've passed the first trade deadline, but this is the kind of thing you kind of have to talk about every year. That doesn't necessarily mean you can't get things done in the next month, right?
No, that's right. Obviously, just need waivers. That does complicate things, of course, but players with larger contracts may be able to slip them through, but there is movement after August 1st.
And the man who won the National League Championship Series Most Valuable Player last year is a great example. He was a guy who was moved in August on a waiver claim, Cody Ross, going from Florida to San Francisco. So you never know when that move will strike that will affect the outcome of the season. Here's Descalso.
John, one of the great things about your culture is sometimes you get a better player than the one you scouted because of the fan base and because of the support you get here as a player.
Yeah, we definitely buy into that bounce a little bit for sure. And, you know, that was one of the things we looked at dealing with Toronto, too, because coming out of the American League East, coming into this division, you should see something positive, too, as well.
Ball and a strike to count on Descalso.
I think about with Rafael Furcal coming out of what could be considered a zoo right now out there in L.A. and all the turmoil out there with the front office dealing with the ownership issues and the players having to deal with that on a daily basis. Now he comes to some place to be considered baseball heaven, and a nice supporting cast on the team that will help him focus on a daily basis. His health is better. The 100% health is there. And I listened to him do his interviews before the game down with the whole group of media, and he was locked in and was really excited to be here.
Well, you bring up a good point, though, on health, because that's sort of been the other elephant in the room with this club all year as well. And so if we can get healthy, get our guys on the field, and keep Furcal healthy, we should be able to put a run together.
And if you're going to put a run together, it's going to be against the teams you're competing with for the National League Central. Hard to believe at this late stage of the season that you've only played 6 games, I think, against Milwaukee. You've got 12 more games still to come against the Brewers and 10 more games still to come against the Pirates.
Well, that's the exciting part about the next 2 months. We're going to play each other a lot.
Starting tomorrow night, a 3-game series beginning up in Milwaukee. There's ball 4 to Descalso. So there it is. It's all right in front of really all 3 teams. A ton of games remaining against the key competitors in the National League Central. And Tony La Russa telling us he's very happy that Edwin Jackson got that first start out of the way and pitched well, because you guys need him in the Milwaukee series. He's due to start the 3rd game on Wednesday night.
Yeah, this trade gave Tony the ability to switch up the rotation a little bit and set it up nicely for when we get to Milwaukee.
Meanwhile, 2 on with 2 out for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 5th. No score in this game. And the batter was the pitcher, Jake Westbrook, who has been outstanding tonight. Has retired all 15 batters he's faced.
Well, not only has the sinker been good, but the cutter inside the lefties tonight has been a nice equalizer to keep the lefties off of his pitch. And he's had a lot of success now against left-handers, and I'll bet it's a lot to do with that cutter inside now to get him off the sinker.
Usually when he has that sinker and cutter going, he's tough. He's a tough pitcher, and he's had his ups and downs this year, but overall we're very happy he's part of our rotation.
And it's been so long since it happened that it doesn't get talked about anymore, but Adam Wainwright went down with an injury back in spring training, out for the entire season, and Albert Pujols was on the DL with a broken bone. Matt Holliday had his appendix out. It's not like this has been a cruise for you guys. You've had to deal with a lot of things here this season.
Well, like every team, you deal with a lot of things, but this year has been unique for sure, and it shows you the resiliency of the club and how they've stuck together. And I think Tony's done a very good job managing this group, and they understand what he expects, and so far that's working.
Cardinals 7 games over, 2 games out of the National League Central.
Tony's going to need his disciples to spread the word amongst the new guys now. It's not as easy to teach the new guys exactly what Tony expects, so the word has to spread, and by now everybody should know the gospel.
There's Dotel, one of the newcomers. Dempster, after having great command all night long, suddenly has walked the number 8 hitter in Descalso, and now he's 3-1 on the pitcher.
Pitched around Descalso, trying to go after Westbrook here. Reed Johnson's really shallow in right field and is alerting the first baseman he's coming there if it's a base hit.
It's a pop-up. Johnson can't see it in right field, but fortunately for him, Barney makes the catch and the inning is over. John, thanks for joining us. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you guys.
John Mozeliak, the general manager of the Cardinals. No score at the end of 5. A Baseball Tonight update is on the way.
That scoreboard, including the Cubs, who don't have a hit yet with John Kruk and Barry Larkin. I'm Carl Ravitch. Baseball tonight on the road tonight in St. Louis. Earlier we talked about the teams perceived to be winners at the trade deadline. Red Sox did accomplish another starting pitcher aspect. They pick up Eric Bedard, a 3-team deal with the Mariners and the Dodgers. There is significant concern apparently about Clay Buchholz's back. They should know more about that tomorrow. How do you judge whether a team didn't accomplish anything at all?
Well, the ones who are in a race and didn't do anything, and they have needs. Yankees have needs of starting pitching. They did nothing. The White Sox have needs at a lot of places. They did nothing, which is surprising because Kenny Williams is a guy that always does something. But the Yankees, to me, with the resources they have, they did absolutely nothing, Barry.
You know, and on the surface, it certainly appears that way. The Angels is another team that didn't do anything, and there's certainly some deficiencies in all these different teams. But it's not over. Remember, Cody Ross was the guy that after the deadline got traded, and he came up huge in the postseason.
And you wonder in the case of Boston and New York if they feel like they really didn't have to do anything yet because they still have the non-waiver trade deadline. And you guys just talked about the NL Central schedule. Pirates do bang heads with some of these teams, but their next 7 are against the Cubs at home for 4, and then they go to San Diego. So as difficult as the last week has been, seems to be a bit of a breather coming up.
And we'll see if the additions, Carl, of Ryan Ludwig and Derek Lee really bolster the Pirates for the last couple of months. Here, no score. 6th inning. Darwin Barney leading it off for the Cubs against Jake Westbrook. Bottom third of the order for the Cubs. Barney, Coy Hill, and then Ryan Dempster. Jam shot, ground ball to short. 1 down.
You know, a team comes into a game, they plan their work, and then they work their plan. And these right-handed hitters are all trying to pull the sinker ball. They're falling right into the trap. They're hitting the ball out in front of their body. They're hitting the top of the ball as their bat's coming up, and they're hitting ground balls. You can't do that. You have to hit the inside of the ball as a right-handed hitter and try to hit the ball the other way. Let the ball get a little deeper, not deep in your body, a little about to the top of the plate, not out in front of the plate, and then just try to hit the ball, the inside of the ball, to the opposite field. Left-handers have to do the same thing and lay off of that cutter that Oral was mentioning earlier in the game. You can't do both. You can't hit the inside pitch and the outside pitch. His bread and butter is his sinker. Left-handers are going to get it. They have to try to get it and hit it to left center field.
Just going back over the scorecard, there have been 2 hard-hit balls by the Cubs tonight. Reed Johnson hit the one off the glove of David Freese, diving at third. It deflected to the shortstop, Descalso, who threw out Johnson. And then Marlon Byrd lined one hard to third last inning. Other than that, just weak ground balls, some strikeouts, and a couple of pop-ups.
Bobby, you talked about Darwin Barney in the first out of this inning. You know, he rolls over this one, but it's a jam shot that he really is getting buried inside there. He tries to get his hands inside it, but he's not, you know, he's still out in front. Look at the vibration. Actually knew he was going to get some bee stings. Looked like he was taking the top hand off the bat, knowing he was about to just get killed. It's another way to get your hands more inside the balls to relieve that top hand so you can pull that bottom hand in closer to your body, but there was not enough room there on that good sinker in.
And there's ball 4, the first base runner of the night for the Chicago Cubs, and it comes with 1 out here in the 6th inning.
This is the time of the game that starting pitchers will have to adjust for the energy level. You've gone, you know, gone 5 innings, you're pitching in this heat, and all of a sudden there's a new energy level. The adrenaline when you left the bullpen, you've gotten into your rhythm, and now your rhythm has led to a little bit of fatigue. So you have to come up with a new pacing to your arm and your body to time it up.
Ryan Dempster up, showing bunt nice and early. Something he's done 7 times successfully this year.
When you're bunting a sinker ball, you don't have to worry about directing it down. You just have to worry about the direction off the bat forward. And in this case, you could deaden the ball out in front of the plate. You don't even have to direct it to first or third because it's such a sinker ball that will die in front of the plate. You'll be able to advance the runner.
The lead at first by Hill. This is the first time all night, obviously, that Westbrook has worked from the stretch. And they're still in on the corners, expecting the bunt. 0-2. Dempster frustrated. Usually a guy who executes this pretty easily. We'll see if the Cubs keep it on with 2 strikes.
If they don't keep it on, they're going to hit a ground ball double play. I'll tell you that. So they better keep it on.
Carpenter, Loesch, Jackson, other St. Louis starters leaning over the railing in the first base dugout, looking out and seeing Jake Westbrook pitching a heck of a game. One and 2.
This is a situation where they can stay hard away. Westbrook can know that the bunt is still on. He can protect Freese with an overcharge at third if he wants to do it by staying hard away with a cutter, hard away with the sinker, and then Freese can come in and get almost every bunt because his pitcher can protect them with the pitch selection.
He'll keep it on and he'll get it down and he'll get the runner over. One unassisted on the putout.
Dan, you mentioned how Johnson hit the ball hard to third base. He did, but he was reaching for the ball and he hit the outside of the ball, came around it. After 2 at-bats and with the great Rudy Jaramillo as their hitting coach, I know he's been instructed to do just what I said, to let the ball get a little deeper, try to hit the inside part of the ball. And again, don't swing at every pitch. You can't swing at the ball in off the plate. And if he throws that slider away, you have to spit on it. Take the sinker that's going to be start out to the outside part, come back over the middle, hit it in the right center field.
Breaking ball down and away, ball 1.
And he spit on it. That's a good start.
Yep. Spit on it, the vernacular for take it.
There's Jaramillo looking on.
Ruru, I had him. I was the pitching coach for the Texas Rangers. He's down there. Led the great hitters like Rafael Palmeiro and Pudge Rodriguez, Juan Gonzalez, Alex Rodriguez, Michael Young.
Into right field, base hit. Runner is going to be held at third and gets back safely. Well, the execution by Johnson exactly as you described it should be, Bobby, but because it was hit right at the right fielder Berkman, no chance for Hill to come home.
Yeah, this ball even runs in on him a little, but because he has the proper approach, he's not trying to pull this ball. He's trying to hit the inside pitch the other way or the ball down the middle. His hands are cleared. The head of the bat is there. You can see how you see the entire ball and very little of the bat. That means he's hit the ball that's the side of the ball that's closest to his body. And you're right, Dan, no play at home. And here's Starlin Castro, who has that swing, has an inside swing built in to his approach. Let's see if he can cash in the same way.
Runners on the corners, 2 down and a strike. Boy, Hill, the catcher's at third. He was almost halfway down the line toward home when he put the brakes on and scampered back to the bag.
And the further the ball is away from third base, the further you could come around the base. And the longer the third base coach has to make up his mind to send or hold you. That was very good coaching and running by Ivan De Jesus, the third base coach.
Just missed. Ivan De Jesus, a pretty good player in his day.
He took my place with the Dodgers, as a matter of fact. I got traded to the Angels. He got called up and was the infielder in my stead. What an arm.
And some good years with the Cubs and Phillies, among other teams. Right center field, well hit. A ground rule double for Castro. He goes the other way. 1 run will score. Johnson's going to be sent back to third.
Well, we saw Jake Westbrook walk Coy Hill with balls that were up We've seen him come back and throw some sinkers that did not quite have the bite, and the hitters put good swings on it. And this is a sinker that doesn't ever sink. It stays up. Good, solid approach from Castro inside the ball, like Bobby said, but not only inside the ball. Since it was up and slightly away from him, got good extension and power on this ball to right center. And the Cardinals catch a break when that ball clears the wall. That holds the runner at third, Reed Johnson.
So after the Cubs didn't have a single base runner in the first 5 innings, they've gotten a walk and a couple of hits here in the 6th to take a 1-0 lead. Aramis Ramirez is the batter. Ramirez, a pop-up and a ground out tonight. Each team with 2 hits now in the game. 1-0 Cubs trying to salvage the final game of the series.
The interesting thing about this heat and the fatigue on Jake Westbrook, and Dempster will have to deal with it next inning, is that you feel like you're getting tired, so you feel like maybe my stuff is not as good, and then you try harder and it throws your rhythm off and it brings the ball up as a sinker baller, and you can see even with his breaking stuff he's kind of pulling it and not trusting his abilities. And it's getting his accuracy off, just trying to find a new rhythm between the fatigue, the feeling of fatigue, and then how do I then adapt to competing with this energy level.
Everybody doing whatever they can to try to stay as cool as possible on this summer night. Outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Carlos Pena.
This would be a good time for somebody in the infield or a catcher, some kind of visit to refocus, because this could be the ball game. One run is not the end of the world. We're going to get you some runs. We need to win this game. Bear down, blow your neck, and get us an out and get us in the dugout. But nobody came to the mound to talk.
It's a lonely feeling out on that hill with the bases loaded and you're tired and you're throwing more pitches this inning than you threw in any 2 combined.
21 this inning. A run in, bases loaded, 2 down. And Carlos Pena, with 20 home runs on the season, is the batter. Not a play. And a lot of success in his career against Jake Westbrook.
He and Paul Konerko have hit him the hardest over his career, past or present, both of them with 4 home runs. Talk about mound visits on the Cubs side. This is Mr. Sociable. He would have been the guy coming to the mound to talk and settle people down. That's Pena.
Good take there by Pena. A ball and a strike. And now Yadier Molina is going to go to the mound to give Westbrook a bit of a breather. Westbrook has not allowed a grand slam since 2005 when Marcus Timms, then of the Tigers, got him. And the ball's going well for a sinker ball, or the ball stays in the ballpark for the most part. Shouldn't give up a lot of home runs.
You're right. And with a man on second base right here, a little visit not only to talk about the psyche of the moment and the strategy, but also about location and target and signals. With a man on second, Molina a little skeptical about every pitch still being a secret. Might have went out and changed the signs up a little bit.
In the dirt, 2 balls and a strike. Good block by Molina.
It seems to me that Pena's home runs against him has come off with a sinker out over the plate. He's crowded him with his cutter when he's gotten him out in this game, and he's thrown him 2 back-to-back changeups. He's now kind of narrowed down to that sinker out over the plate with the bases loaded and a 2-1 count. Let's see what Pena could do with it.
Sinker swung on and missed. 2-2.
That's the one you're talking about, Bobby, that was an attempt to get it inside. Ball ran back over the plate. If he'd hit that for a home run, we'd have said it was a mistake, and Pena gave it a big-time cut. We're coming fastball in, two-seamer. We're trying to keep it in there, but you see how that ball leaked all the way back across the plate. If that ball's well hit, that's a mistake. He got away with one there.
Just missed the inside corner with that sinker or two-seamer, and the count is now full.
This ball makes it all the way back. This is the pitch that he wanted to throw the pitch before. The one before ran all the way back across the plate. He got away with it. That one he executed his pitch, just didn't get the call.
Maybe the pitch of the game here. The runners will be on the move. Missed down and in, and he's walked in a run.
Well, they wanted to throw a cutter there that looked like it was right down the middle and then slightly jams him just to get a pop-up or fly ball, and he pulled it and didn't trust it again. And it's been a rough inning, and the bullpen is now going.
Right-hander Jason Amat starting to throw, and throwing hard in the St. Louis pen. Again, Jake Westbrook was perfect through 5 innings. He's given up 2 hits, 3 walks, and 2 runs here in the 6th. Hey, look at some of the different swings that the Cubs have had against Westbrook. The adjustments, Bobby, you talked about them making.
Exactly, and that's what a veteran hitting coach and a veteran message, how it plays into a game-winning situation. They made the adjustments and produced.
A chance to break it open for Marlon Byrd. Sliced into right field, a base hit. 2 runs are going to come in to score. Around to third goes Pena, 4-0 for the Cubs.
It doesn't work to count at all here. He just jumps on the first thing he sees, and it's a pretty good sinker. But Marlon Byrd really has learned also, like Bobby was talking about, Rudy Jaramillo probably analyzing the situation, letting the hitters know we've going to have to use the right side of the diamond if you're a right-hander, and that's the way they've gotten it done. Between the walks and the good approach of the hitting of the Cubs, that's this rally.
All 4 runs scoring after 2 were out here in the 6th inning. Alfonso Soriano, a couple of groundouts.
Last hitter will have a chance to get this 3rd out. He's going to try to make him chase. But if he doesn't get him, we're going to have a move for the bullpen, I believe.
Hung a breaking ball, and Soriano hooks it foul. I think this crowd's in a bit of a state of disbelief about the way that things have gone this inning after Westbrook was perfect through 5. 15 up and 15 down. We have heard this half inning the evidence of Cubs fans being here in the ballpark. Sounds like there's, I don't know, maybe a couple of thousand of them. They've gotten loud here this half inning as the Cubs have erupted for 4 runs in what has been a bleak season for the Northsiders. Not that the expectations were necessarily that high coming in, but I don't know if anybody expected them to be 23 games under 500.
Well, there's Ryan Dempster throwing a good game here tonight, now with a 4-run lead, but the Cubs starting pitching has really led the downward spiral. They have pretty much been atrocious.
Worst starters ERA in the National League. Worst team ERA in the National League. Worst defense statistically in the National League. And well, as you know as well as anybody, it starts with the starting pitching, right? It's hard to win when they put you in a hole. Soriano with a fly ball to right field. Almost over the head of Berkman. 4 runs off Westbrook for the Cubs. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Corona Light. It only gets better. And Kingsford Charcoal. Slow down and grill. Dan Schulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney, and Wendy Nix back with you at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where all of a sudden the Cubs, who didn't have a base runner through 5, score 4 times in the 6th inning, lead 4-0. Top of the order, Schumacher, Jay, and Pujols for the Cardinals. Jake Westbrook probably wondering, where did it all go so wrong so quickly? But if he's looking for a little encouragement, his team was down 5-0 yesterday, came back to win 13-5. The Cardinals are the best offensive team in the National League, and the Cubs have the worst pitching numbers in the National League. But so far tonight, Ryan Dempster has done a terrific job. He's given up just 2 hits, a single and a double, walked 1, and he has struck out 5. And there's a base hit into left field. Leadoff man aboard for the Cardinals. John Jay will be the batter. He's got a hit tonight. Infield hit in the first, grounded out in the 4th. After Jay, Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. St. Louis can put runs on the board in a hurry.
Orel was mentioning how Westbrook might have gotten a little tired last inning. Dempster might have gotten a little too relaxed in the dugout. That long wait is treacherous for pitchers on hot, muggy days.
That half inning was so long that sometimes you welcome it in this heat because you get rested, and then you go in and you might put on a dry T-shirt, dry sleeves, and sometimes actually the dry shirt makes it hard on your mechanics because it actually sticks to you, and you don't have the same freedom as when everything is moist.
Foul ball. Just foul down the right field line.
On a 2-0 count, this ball comes in. He has a very good swing at it, and it's just inches foul as this ball curves right at the end, coming down as he got around it.
A 2-0, that's a good foul ball, though, because you know you want him to get the head out and try and use that hole with a man on first. Probably still going to try and hit that hole.
Two and two.
Jay has a real interesting setup where he has an open stance and he has his bat down on his shoulder, but his approach is perfect because as his right foot comes down, his bat comes off his shoulder, his back elbow comes up, his head, that bat goes over his head a bit, and he launches perfectly.
Bouncer to first. Pena will get the lead runner back to first, not in time. So runner at first, one out. Let's take a look now at our pro tips brought to you by Cabot Wood Stains.
Ryan Dempster knew coming into this game that Albert Pujols had absolutely owned him. 5 home runs over the last 2 years. In this first at bat, he alternates between the fastball and the split, even though one of the splits, not the last one, was a bad one. And then in the 4th inning, he comes back with all fastballs. Why? Albert is probably going to sit on the split, the last pitch that he got him out with, adjusting himself. But Ryan does not take the bait and sticks with all fastballs to get him out twice.
In the 3rd time?
This is where it gets interesting. I think if Albert makes him throw the ball over the plate, Albert could probably return to his success off of him because he's got a good read on his pitches for tonight. But if Ryan can get him to chase outside the strike zone, I think he'll continue to have that success.
I think he's going to show him that fastball again on the inside part and then try to go strictly with the slider away. Being he hasn't seen the slider yet.
He hasn't thrown the slider at all, and he's got that left in the arsenal.
And would you always remember, Oral, you're facing a hitter for the 3rd time in a game, you would remember he's seen my fastball, he's seen my splitter in the case of Dempster, but I haven't thrown to my slider yet?
Well, the key is not only knowing that, but knowing what kind of hitter you're dealing with. Am I dealing with an adjuster? Am I dealing with kind of a rockhead that won't change himself? And when you're dealing with Albert, he's thinking right along with you, so you have to adjust back. With certain hitters, you can just continue to wear a hole out on them and throw a fastball away the whole way, or throw breaking balls in the dirt the whole time. They never make an adjustment. With Albert, you don't put up the numbers he does year in and year out without making adjustments, so you know he's thinking with you.
And what's Dempster thinking about? Throwing to first base twice with Albert at the plate.
Fastball high.
Counts. It's 4-0. You have to have full concentration at the plate in this situation. Dempster had a little concentration on the runner at first, or maybe he just wasn't confident. But he started off with that fastball, and I think he's going to try to throw those sliders now.
There is a swing and a miss at a good slider down and away, Bobby.
Perfect, Bobby.
Well, you have to have a plan, and he was swinging fastball out in front of the slider. He's seen fastballs the whole night.
Fastball away, 2-1. Oral, what's on your mind right now if you're Dempster?
I know that he knows that I know that he knows that I know, and where are we going to start? Well, whatever it is, I better be fully committed to this pitch, not still thinking, but thinking about execution once I determine the strategy. Even if it's the wrong pitch, it's fully committed to.
2-2. Another fastball.
I'll tell you what, they're both grinding away, though. This is the part of a heavyweight fight that is mental, and then you have to go compete. Savvy veteran since going back in the rotation in 2008, 15 games over 500. This is not a slouch. There, a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's going fastball away one more time.
In the left field, a base hit and past Soriano to the wall. Jay will be held at third. It's a double by Pujols. Looked like a hanging slider up and away, Earl.
Hanging slider or hanging split. The slider, I think he would have pulled into the dirt. I think the split might slip out. There's the fastball up. Now the slider that Bobby called that he definitely need to show and expose to him. The fastball away. Fastball away again. And that kind of looks like a high split because it comes back towards Albert's bat. He stays on it. And Sorry out here. I don't know how to describe that route. He's just out there waiting for it to stop, slow down, and get it in.
So a double for Pujols. The Cardinals in the business here in the bottom of the sixth, trying to answer the 4 spot that the Cubs put on the board off Jake Westbrook in the top half of the inning. Now, one of the reasons why the Cardinals have been the best offensive team in the National League this year is they lead the league in batting with runners in scoring position. As a team, they're at 301. And Matt Holliday is the leader of the pack, 373. Jay at third. Pujols at second, only one out. Out of play.
Dan, we mentioned the Cubs hitting coach Rudy Jaramillo. The Cardinals hitting coach is the great Mark McGwire. And Mark doesn't like to talk about fundamental swings and mechanics of the swing. He likes to talk about the mental approach and what you should be looking for and how you should be approaching each at-bat as the game situation presents itself. And this is an at-bat where you want to use the big part of the field for Matt Holliday. He wants to drive the ball gap to gap, does not want to pull the ball here.
The difference between Dempster's inning and the inning that Westbrook has is Westbrook continued to fall behind. He continued to look like he couldn't execute pitches to get out of a jam. Dempster in trouble, but still looks like he's on his game. Even though he hung that split or slider to Albert, he still looks like he's rested, he's in his rhythm, and he can make pitches.
And he gets Holliday looking for the second out.
Just a hanging slider there, huh?
Well, they started him out with the bad split that he got away with, came back with a good fastball, and then the last pitch, a slider on the outer half that just looked like Matt might have been getting some signs, information from Albert at second. It just, you wouldn't expect him to just take that pitch 0-2 unless there was something else going on.
So now with 2 down, it's up to Berkman. And again, Dempster starts a batter with strike 1.
Berkman's been resting that right shoulder, his front shoulder, for 6 games and has not had a good swing yet tonight. For Cardinals fans, it'll be a good time to break out the first one.
The Holliday-Berkman combo, the 4-5 hitters in the Cardinal lineup, as dangerous a duo really as there is in the National League in the 4-5 spots. They're a combined 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts tonight. Ripped to deep right center field. A a 3-run home run for Lance Berkman. Welcome back, Lance Berkman, a ball that got out of this ballpark in the blink of an eye. League leading 28th home run of the season for Berkman. It's a one-run game. You started to think when Marlon Byrd went back that he thought, I might have a play on this ball. And then he said to himself, it looked like, well, I'll play it off the wall. And it just was hit so hard. It never looked like it had the height to get over the wall, but he hit it so hard it got on out of here.
Thought we were going to have another one of those top of the wall calls.
Yeah. What a rope. Now Freese with a towering fly ball to center field. And the inning is over. The Cubs get 4 in the top half of the 6th. The Cardinals respond with 3 in the bottom of the half, thanks to Lance Berkman. A rocket to center, National League leading 28th home run of the season. And it's a one-run game. Fans there in the first row who caught the home run ball off the bat of Lance Berkman. Check out the MLB Fan Cave at MLBFanCave.com. Many of baseball's biggest stars have stopped by the cave. Check out all the videos and see who will visit the cave next. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave page on Facebook. To the top of the 7th in a game that has changed dramatically in the last inning. 4-3, the Cubs lead the Cardinals. Right-hander Jason Mott into the game for St. Louis, making his 49th appearance of the season. He's got a 2.21 ERA. And he throws hard. Terrific numbers for Mott, including a strikeout to walk ratio of almost 4-1. Barney late on the 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
What's the difference in approach for the Cub hitters? You go from sinker baller to a guy who's in the mid-90s, going to be four-seam or more up in the strike zone, Bobby.
Yeah, and you have to start it a little earlier. That is, start your front foot a little earlier to get that timing right. Mott likes to throw that 95, 96-mile-an-hour fastball away. So once again, you don't want to be pull happy, but you really have to get your body in motion a little sooner.
A little pop up for the second baseman Schumacher, one down. Well, with Mott throwing hard, a good time to tell you that Bayer at Advanced Aspirin wants you to know that for the rest of the season, Bayer will be donating $10 to the Red Cross for every strike thrown at 95 miles per hour or faster. For more, log on to speedyourrelief.com.
How come I think John Kruk can use some Bayer aspirin after sitting in that heat for about an hour and a half this afternoon? He was miserable.
Here's Coy Hill. Even last week in Cincinnati, remember Barry Larkin came up and joined us in the booth, and he said, boy, it's pretty comfortable up here in the penthouse, is what he called it. He said it's a whole different, what you go on, you're with us up here and down on the set. It's smoking down there.
It's smoking.
Yeah.
Don't they have an air-conditioned trailer down there for the boys?
They do?
Okay. They're doing okay then, right? You have to be on that set so long in between.
For about 20 minutes before it goes on. Those lights are really nice and hot.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the boys would be. They would love to be there without the lights on, which add about 20 degrees to the temperature.
You had a little extra long wait today because X Games ran a little long. You have to wait to go on.
Glorious wait. Just bonding, a little bonding. Carl, Barry, John, and I out there sweating together. It's really.
Well, the guys will be back out there after the game. It'll have cooled off a little bit more by then to wrap up today and tonight on SportsCenter. Fouled back. Still 1-2 on Coy Hill, the Cubs catcher. It was scoreless at the end of 5. Not only was it scoreless, the Cubs hadn't had a base runner through 5 innings. Then they scored 4 runs off Jake Westbrook in the 6th. The Cardinals came back with the Lance Berkman 3-run homer. Soft liner to short, 2 down.
We've got a theme here going with balls that are thrown away and off the end of the bat and breaking bats is sitting off a Mott.
Here's Dempster.
Earl, what would you rather do? Strike out 3 guys in an inning or break 3 bats in an inning for 3 outs?
You could break the 3 bats on 1 pitch each. I'll take the 3 broken bats. Got to work too hard to get strikeouts. Reliever, he'd rather strike everybody out. Starter, he'll take the broken bats early in the count. Let's move on.
There's a little satisfaction, as much satisfaction out of breaking a bat, though, isn't it?
Especially inside.
But some starters have to, they go from that thrower to pitcher stage where they want strikeouts when they're younger, but they'll take the first pitch groundouts when they're older.
Yeah, if you don't have the exceptional stuff, like Justin Verlander we saw today. Weaver's really looking for outs early in the count. But Verlander in that Tiger Angel game that was such a great pitching matchup. You've got one guy that strikes people out just because they just can't catch up to him. He's got an unbelievable curveball, and Verlander had the no-hitter going through almost 7 innings, 8 innings he was going into. And Weaver gets a lot of strikeouts, but he'd rather have the early contact. Chris Carpenter there can do a little of both. Adam Wainwright, when he's healthy, he can do a little bit of both too. The key there for Carpenter and Wainwright, for those guys, they want the strikeouts when they need it.
Mott gets a strikeout of Dempster to end the inning. 7th inning stretch, 4-3 Cubs. These two old rivals, the Cubs and the Cardinals, who have met more than 2,000 times in their respective franchise histories, battling it out here on a muggy night in St. Louis. Lance Berkman with a 3-run home run that made it a 1-run game. The Cardinals coming up now in the bottom of the 7th. The bottom third of the order to face Ryan Dempster, who's back out there.
And the third hitter will be one of the new members of the Cardinals, either Corey Patterson or Rafael Foucault.
First, Molina 0 for 2. Down at third over the shoulder of Aramis Ramirez. And Molina's aboard.
Well, when you get way out in front, you'll hit the ball with top spin, and then if the ball hits the edge of the grass, it'll really take off. That's called the lip by players, and it's not called that because they love the look of it. They call it because when it hits there, a lot of times you get hit right in the lip. Ramirez almost got one right there.
Ramirez still shaking his head. It'll go as a base hit for Molina. The tying run is aboard to lead off the bottom of the 7th, and here's Descalso.
Jose Oquendo came down to discuss something, probably if you're going to bump up for a base hit on the first pitch.
Doesn't show bunt, and he takes a strike.
With Molina on first, I really doubt that they'd be bunting or hitting and running. He's very slow of foot.
High, a ball and a strike. How would you play this?
I'd play it straight just like this. Hope to get a base hit in the hole so I could work some magic with possibly a first and second or first and third situation.
Mott is out in the on-deck circle right now, but that, of course, doesn't mean anything. Looks like Foucault might start getting loose. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Meanwhile, right-hander Kerry Wood, left-hander Sean Marshall up in the Cubs pen. And the bullpen has not been a good spot for the Cubs in the first 2 games of this series.
That's why Dempster went out this inning, even though giving up 3 last inning.
Base hit through the right side. Molina stops at second.
Anytime the ball goes in front of the runner at first, you have no chance to get to third. This ball's in front of him. No, it's not. It's just behind him as he's jumping. But he still has no chance going to third.
And Rafael Foucault will make his Cardinal debut.
Making his Cardinal debut, number 15, Rafael Foucault.
Mike Quade has made the move to the bullpen. Dempster pitches well. He'll come out of the bottom of the 7th with the Cub lead in jeopardy. Left-hander Sean Marshall's on his way into the game. Bottom of the 7th, the Cardinals down a run, have the first 2 men on here in the 7th inning. And newcomer Rafael Furcal will make his Cardinal debut. Mike Quade went to the left-hander Sean DeMarshall, so Furcal will turn around to bat right-hander. Got a huge ovation when he was introduced. Of course, such an appreciative, knowledgeable baseball fan base here in St. Louis. Marshall, one of the better left-handed relievers you will come across, with some very good numbers, although the inherited runners stranded is a little bit lower than here Mike Quade would like it to be. Big question now, Bobby. First and second, nobody out, 1-run game. Do you let Furcal swing away, or do you think he's bunting?
Yeah, I think that Marshall came in with instructions that be alive for the bunt. You have third base coverage, throw a high fastball, see if you can get him to pop it up. I think Tony La Russa is sitting in the dugout knowing this is the first day for Carlson's St. Louis uniform. Would love to have him be a hero. I think he's going to let him swing away at the first pitch. Considering Molina's on second base and it's tough to bunt him over anyway, I think this is going to be hero status for a 197 hitter.
Furcal with some injuries this year with the Dodgers. The numbers down, hitting under 200, but a proven performer in his big league career with LA and Atlanta before that. Molina at second, Descalso at first. Nobody out.
Well, if they are bunting, Molina with the lead that he has at second base will never get to third. He's got to be hitting.
It's a great call, Bobby. Great call. It's awesome to have a manager up here.
33-year-old Furcal, 11 seasons in the big leagues with the Braves and Dodgers. 2-time All-Star.
Just look around, Cubbies.
Breaking ball for a strike.
For some reason, Cruz is still in at first base, thinking there's going to be a bunt. I don't know why he'd be there. Pena.
Chopped weakly and foul at the third baseline.
Come on now. You can move back a little.
Funny game tonight. Scoreless through 5. Cubs didn't have a base runner through 5. They get 4 in the top half of the 6th. Cardinals get 3 in the bottom half. St. Louis threatening here in the bottom of the 7th. Ground ball to second. And they'll force the runner at second. So fielder's choice. First and third, one down.
With Rafael Furcal's speed, this ball's not hit hard enough probably to turn 2, but Castro probably has memories of last night and Holiday bearing down on him, so he's just getting out of there and getting one. They're pretty much all around a one-out play for sure because of the speed of the ball and the speed of the batter runner Furcal.
Now Ryan Terrio's going to come up. The former Cub, who came off the bench with a couple of hits on Friday, then went 4 for 5 yesterday, 6 for 7 with 6 runs driven in this series against his old team.
Earl, you were wondering why he wasn't in the starting lineup. It was just for this situation. Get the hot guy up when you know you can use him the most.
He is batting for Skip Schumacher. Right-hander Kyle McClellan throwing in the Cardinal pen.
What a job he did this year, filling in for Adam Wainwright, now back in the bullpen after the trade for Jackson.
Some might be wondering why they don't bring the right-hander in to get Terrio, it's because for Cowles on first base, they want to keep him on first base with a chance of a double play. Right-hander comes in, he'll be off and running. It's set up a situation where the winning run would be on second base if he's not thrown out.
Kerry Wood ready if needed in the Cubs pen. Tying run at third, go ahead run at first with one out in the bottom of the seventh.
Do you also think, Bobby, with a right-handed pitcher, if you come with the righty on the mound, then you get a left-hander and you can use that hole with the man on first too?
Yeah, they have Corey Patterson there ready to do that, but I think it's more for the runner and the left-hander on deck.
The running game.
John Jay waiting on deck. Albert Pujols behind him. A little bit high.
Again, it's been a tale of two games, hasn't it? Pitcher dominant for 5, and now offense just nipping at the heels of anybody who's on the mound.
Took it down and in.
That's a hot Ryan Terrio right there. That's a pitch he hits into a double play. He swings and misses at. Right there, he is locked in.
And it sets up a situation for a hit and run on this pitch. But you're right, Oral.
That's big time take for a guy that is a middle of the pack hitter in the big leagues, sometimes even the lower end of the pack, but right now hitting the ball and seeing the ball as good as he has in his whole career.
All he has to do is hit a ground ball here. It's a tie game if the runner's going.
Outside, 3-1. All Ryan Dempster can do is look on from the dugout. Yadier Molina, no sure thing to score on a fly ball. He's at third with one out. For Call with a better speed at first. Chopper to short. 1 and 2. They turn the double play and get out of the inning. Starlin Castro gets it done. Sean Marshall inducing the double play grounder. And the Chicago Cubs still clinging to a 1-run lead at the end of 7. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Top of the 8th inning. It's the Cubs 4 and the Cardinals 3. New pitcher right-hander Kyle McClellan for St. Louis. And he'll miss low, ball 1 to Reed Johnson. McClellan, a starter for most of this season after being a reliever the last 3 years, has just gone back to the bullpen. The acquisition of Edwin Jackson, allowing McClellan to go back to the pen. More depth there. Ryan Theriot stays in the game at second base for the Cardinals after bouncing into the inning-ending double play and then just completed the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Johnson, Starlin Castro, and Aramis Ramirez here in the top of the inning. 4 runs on just 3 hits for the Cubs. They got all their runs in the 6th. 3 runs on 7 hits for the Cardinals. They got all of their runs in the 6th. Mike Quaddy's team trying to avoid being swept here in St. Louis. Bit of a delay. We've got a couple of fans who have decided to run onto the field. One of them's been taken down in the outfield. The other one, she was quite a bit faster than anybody who was chasing her on the field. She ran all the way around the field and then kind of hurdled her way back into the seats where they finally got her. Coverage of Major League Baseball continues on ESPN beginning tomorrow night. It'll be the Indians and Red Sox at 7 o'clock Eastern. Then Wednesday night baseball, the Yankees and the White Sox at 8 Eastern. Both games also available online at ESPN3.com. So games impacting the races into both the American League East and Central divisions. So the delay continues while the one fan who was caught on the field is escorted off the field. And Kyle McClellan's got to wait a while between pitches here in a 1-run game.
Starlin Castro has really been a target of the runners of the St. Louis Cardinals. They went after him last night, went after him a couple times tonight. Made a great double play ending last inning where he fielded the ball on the third base side, and as his left foot comes down, he's releasing this ball. Ball won't be released until it is, and then he's an acrobat and an athlete getting over the sliding runner for Kyle. Very clutch play and very big play for a young 21-year-old learning as he goes.
All right, back to baseball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The count on Reed Johnson. Kyle McClellan on the mound for the Cardinals. And he got him with a curveball. All of a sudden, the Cardinal pen with McClellan moving back to the bullpen. The acquisitions of Octavio Dotel and Mark Zepchinski in the trade with Toronto. And Tony La Russa's got 3 brand new relievers at his disposal compared to a few days ago. There's Dotel, the veteran right-hander who has been just a nightmare for right-handed batters this year. Zepchinski is a left-hander. Strike taken by Castro. As John Mozeliak told us when he visited with us, and as Bobby and Oral were saying earlier, the Cardinals feel they've addressed their areas of need. They can score runs, but they bolstered their bullpen. They bolstered their rotation with the acquisition of Edwin Jackson. As you look at Zepchinski looking on. They improved their depth. They improved their defense. He's pretty uptight being a dependent race, as you can see.
He was a rookie in 1999 for the New York Mets. Had a really good fastball, a good slider. Great career. He's a teammate of yours, Earl.
Yep, and you managed him, and it was at that time it was hard to get him down in the strike zone. The out pitch that he uses to get people to swing at the high fastball that tails up, but he couldn't at that time early in his career get the ball down. But once he got the ball down, he kept the out pitch. Here's our closer, Armando Benitez.
Oh yeah,
bringing him along. He was the veteran that kind of brought Octavio up.
Closer is Fernando Salas. Dotel and McClellan can both work in the 7th and 8th innings. There's a good sharp breaking ball to get Castro. Back-to-back strikeouts from McClellan.
You know, speaking of that portion of the bullpen, Dan, when we look to the 8th inning and John Jay and Albert Pujols and Holiday and Berkman coming up, that's when the save could be for the Cubs in the 8th, not the 9th.
Without question in a game like this.
They're going to need a right-hander for the second hitter, possibly the first hitter of the inning.
Here's Ramirez. Big swing and a miss.
They'll send Marshall out there, and then if there's a pinch hitter, he'll probably be ready with a right-hander.
Kerry Wood was throwing the inning before.
Slow curveball, 0-2.
Samardzija had a rough one yesterday, so you probably not going to see him in a close game until he gets back on the horse.
Samardzija, who had been pitching very well until yesterday. James Russell had had a long scoreless streak until recently as well. Inning over. McClellan with a great job. Going to the bottom of the 8th, the Cardinals will come up down a run. John Jay, Albert Pujols, Matt Holliday do. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by Malibu Black Caribbean Rum. Get your island on. And the Volkswagen Autobahn for all events. Hurry in before the deals. Hurry out. Bottom of the 8th inning. It's the Cubs 4 and the Cardinals 3 here on Sunday Night Baseball. Dan Schulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser. As Oral said, the save could be this inning, given the part of the order that's coming up for the Cardinals. And a big breaking ball for strike one from Sean Marshall to John Jay.
This is a confidence builder here. Tony's not pinch hitting for Jay because he knows he's going to be his regular center fielder. 1-run game here. He wants him to go after the left-hander.
0-2. Kerry Wood is up again in the pen. Albert Pujols is on deck. So you got to assume that Marshall will just face Jay, and one way or the other, Wood will come in to face Pujols.
And you could read the lips there saying, yeah, you've got to go hard in. That was a scouting report talking about Kerry against Albert Pujols. They're looking at his past performance and what success he's had. He said you have to establish hard in.
13 for 39, 3 home runs, 4 strikeouts. Wood against Pujols.
Ground ball hit to first, and Jay retired one down. Pujols coming to the plate, looking toward the third base dugout. No sign of Mike Quade emerging and bringing in Kerry Wood. Looks like he's going to leave Marshall.
Six for 25, 240, 1 home run, 4 strikeouts against the lefty.
So Pujols with better numbers against Wood than he's got against Marshall, so Marshall stays. Ball 1.
Very interesting move. It's really going by not the book, but by the page that the numbers are on. And he believes the numbers.
Base hit through the left side. For the Ramos Ramirez playing right on the line behind the bag, playing a no doubles defense. Didn't have the play to his left. It'll be a single for Pujols. Now Mike Quade's on his way. The call to the pen for Kerry Wood. Kerry Wood comes into the game for the Cubs as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning here with 1 out and 1 on in a 1-run game in front of a crowd of almost 44,000 here at Busch Stadium. Oral, the veteran right-hander Kerry Wood will come in to face Matt Holliday. But let's go back, Bobby. You wanted to talk a little bit about the defense on the base hit by Albert Pujols.
Well, the defensive positioning, Dan, you mentioned Ramirez was right on the line, and he is. He's protecting against doubles. So what he's doing is allowing singles and letting a home run hitter come up who is going to be the go-ahead run. So they're saying it's okay to get a single because we have 2 guys who can put us out of reach, rather than saying we're going to try to keep the tying run off the base and play a regular defense. And then maybe with 2 outs and nobody on, make them get 2 hits to beat you and make the second hit the big hit. That's a time you could play no doubles. But to be on the line in that situation, I think is very questionable. At least I wouldn't do it.
So Pujols comes up with a base hit. Matt Holliday is going to be the batter. Holliday, 3 at-bats and 3 strikeouts tonight. All of that against Ryan Dempster.
And if I could just extend the thought, I would think if you're going to play no doubles with no outs and 1-run lead, then you're going to play no doubles with a man on first and the go-ahead run up. If you're so concerned about that line, and here they're playing a double play situation, so it's not very consistent.
As you look to the outfield now, especially in center and right, they're extremely deep. Bird and Johnson. Actually, Soriano is the shallowest of the 3, and he's the outfielder on Holliday's pull side. He's the left fielder with the right hand hitting Holliday up. Holliday chases outside 0-1, and you can see all night long he's been slamming the bat down and kicking at the dirt. He's had a frustrating night. Wood still throws hard. 94 there as he misses high. There's Lance Berkman, switch hitter, already a home run tonight, accounting for all 3 Cardinal runs. Wood back with the Cubs again, where it all began for him. Just outside. Quaddy looking on. The wins have not come easily for Quaddy and the Cubs this season. Cardinals, such a dangerous offensive team, and with the very heart of their order up right now. Fastball for a strike. 2-2 on Holliday.
That's quality pitch right there. You're behind in the count. Fastball in, a hard pitch you'd call for a strike sometimes. Kerry Wood comes right in there with all the confidence in the world. Starts it down the middle, tails it right in on the hands.
Back to the mound. Wood to second, one on to first in time, and the Cubs turn another inning-ending double play. Kerry Wood makes the pitches, and Kerry Wood makes the play. Get another look. Behind his back. To start a 1-6-3 inning-ending double play. Cubs still lead. 4-3 Cubs going to the top of the ninth here in St. Louis. Kyle McClellan still on the mound. Carlos Pena leads it off for Chicago. And a one-hopper back to the mound for out number 1.
Well, that one was caught conventionally, but Kerry Wood, the double play that he made behind the back, Dan, I'll tell you what, you might practice this in PFP in spring training, goofing around, but this was the only way he could get it done with falling off to first. Reaches down about knee high, flexes the knees down to get it. Usually when you make the catch behind your back, you're trying to get it in your back pocket. That one was a little low. You had to bend the knees and did a nice job getting it done. You're 16.5 out of first. That's the way to get smiles in the dugout.
Nice play.
Yep. Got to be a web gem for Kerry Wood as Marlon Byrd takes a strike. Never in doubt.
And they'll be on an airplane out of here. He won't get to see it in the late show with the guys. Yep. He'll have to have somebody TiVo it for him.
Carlos Marmol is up in the bullpen for the Cubs. How about the offensive story tonight for the Chicago Cubs? 3 up, 3 down in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, and eighth, and got 4 runs in the 6th inning. Have not had a base runner on any inning tonight except for the 6th.
Well, didn't they get 5 in the first last night and then were shut down the rest of the game?
You know, with the heat, they don't want to overexert. Just do enough. Just do enough.
McClellan in his 2nd inning of relief. A couple of strikeouts and a pop-up in the 8th, a ground out. And then a liner into right center field, a base hit. Byrd with a 1-out single.
You know, Dan, I talked about the save comes in the 8th sometimes when you're facing that heart of the Cardinal order, but the pitches that Kerry Wood made before the double play, the 2-1 fastball right here to get back in the count. K-Zone disagrees, but he got a strike, and then he runs it right back in there, plus the defense behind him. Matt Holliday with a frustrating night, but you got to tip your cap to Kerry Wood, making a couple good, really good fastballs to get back in the count and then put him away with the double play.
Little meeting on the mound to discuss how they'll go with Alfonso Soriano, who is 0 for 3 tonight. Is that a "Let's Go Cubbies" chant here in St. Louis?
It's a sea of red with a sprinkling of blue. And those 12 or 15 below us are all rooting for the Cubbies.
Marmol continues to warm in the Cubs bullpen, their closer, who has had his ups and downs this year.
Either way, he's fun to watch. He's all elbows and knees and velocity and unbelievable slider that sweeps across to right-handers.
Go to first, runner back. Cubs are on their way to Pittsburgh to start a series with the Pirates beginning tomorrow night. You can see some of the struggles that we alluded to that Marmol has gone through recently and spent a week exiled from the closer's job. Cubs will start a 4-game series with Pittsburgh. St. Louis is on its way to Milwaukee to begin a series with the Brewers, who at the moment are 2 games ahead of them in the National League Central. The Cardinals and Brewers still with 12 games left with one another in the last 2 months of the season.
Those Pittsburgh Pirates starting to run into some quality teams. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They've had the Braves, the Phillies, the Cardinals. The Cardinals are looking forward to playing the Central and all the teams, that, especially Milwaukee, that they're trying to catch.
Pirates making a couple of moves, picking up Ryan Ludwig and Derek Lee. The Cardinals, if you missed it earlier today, and we've already seen him tonight in a pinch hitting role, Rafael Furcal is now a Cardinal. Flew to St. Louis today, didn't start the game, but did appear in the game. Just high. Boy, you could see Soriano. He wasn't too sure. He didn't want to blink, breathe, nothing till he found out that was ball 3.
It's a big pitch for both sides because you go to 3-2 count. Now you possibly start the runner. You get out of the double play. Bird at first. Soriano is a swing and miss guy at the plate. You could get a strike him out, throw him out here. But you also have a chance on a double to score a run if you start him here.
He's going, and Soriano lifts the ball high and deep to left field. Headed for the bullpen. Gone.
Interesting momentum swing for the Cubs. Kerry Wood gets the double play all the way from a 2-1 count to Matt Holliday. A 2-2 slider that's high. If you throw low to this guy, I don't even care if it's lower than low for a ball. He likes to golf him out. Sorry, been cold but hot of late.
Now a liner to right field, drops for a base hit for Darwin Barney. Soriano with his second home run in as many games and his 17th home run of the season. And the Cubs lead now 6-3. That's the ball that was thrown into the crowd. I think it was John Grabo, Cubs reliever, who caught the ball in his hat. And then somebody threw it into the crowd. And it was Grabo.
This could be a dueling web gems between Wood and Grabo now.
You like the hat trick?
I like the hat trick because it's hard to keep it in. There's less webbing there. You've got to have the right timing.
6-3. The Cubs lead the Cardinals. Top of the 9th inning. For those of you tuning in looking for Sports Center, it'll come your way as soon as the ball game is finished here at Busch Stadium. The Cubs trying to avoid a sweep. Just got some big insurance from Alfonso Soriano.
Both catches have the chance of having personal embarrassment, so the degree of difficulty is both kind of equal. Both done on the road.
You're funny.
I don't know if I am or not, but I'm going with it with 6-3.
Yeah. Degree of difficulty, I like it.
Tomahawked into right field, a base hit for Hill. Barney around to third. We mentioned a little bit earlier this inning, the Cubs in 7 innings tonight have gone 3 up, 3 down. Then they had 4 runs in the 6th, and they got 2 and maybe counting here in the 9th. All or nothing tonight.
That ball's a high pitch. You have to really get your hands up. It looks like you're swinging down, but you're not. You swing up at it and then come over it. As you see the hands up, and then the bat finally gets up and then over. Hit it off the end of the bat. Nice base hit. It's a great feeling in it.
Dave Duncan to the mound, the pitching coach for the Cardinals. The Cubs looking for a little bit more, trying to keep adding on, up 6-3 in the 9th inning. DeWitt batting in Kerry Wood's spot. There's the man of the moment, Alfonso Soriano, with a 2-run home run. Little cushion here for the Cubs. Kerry Wood did the job on the mound and defensively in the bottom of the 8th. He's now officially out of the game as DeWitt comes up as a pinch hitter.
Really interesting. The Cardinals have their infielders at a halfway position. They want to go for 2 if the ball's hit hard, but they're going to come home if it's a slow hit ball. They can't afford to give up another run. One of those defensive positionings that you really don't practice much. You're in between on a lot of the hops. It's a little difficult for the infielders to feel the ball and still get the guy at home, but he'll be going on contact if the ball's hit on the ground. If it's slow hit, we'll have a bang bang at home. Hard hit, they'll go for 2.
The one hop on the dirt's not the most comfortable place for the infielders to get a read, is it?
No.
Just that difference between the soft grass and then you don't know what the dirt's going to do for just one hop.
It's the proverbial in-between hop often that handcuffs infielders.
And you get that fun place like Ramirez had down at third for the Cubs. You get the lip that comes in.
Well, remember, they had to resod the whole field here, right?
That's right.
U2 was here as U2 continues its rampage through Major League Baseball, having impacted ballparks where Florida, Anaheim, Oakland, I think. Didn't Florida played the series in Seattle, right? Because they couldn't play at home.
3 games.
U2 was here, and just the setup and the equipment and everything, they had to rip it up and start all over again after the concert.
Helping the economy. Sod business went up.
Back to the mound, 1 and 2 on the inning. So we'll go to the bottom of the 9th here in St. Louis. The Cubs now with a 3-run lead thanks to the home run by Alfonso Soriano. They're up 6-3. Berkman frees Molina. Marmol on his way in. Cubs up by 3 after the blast by Soriano. Of the 9th in St. Louis. Cubs 6, Cardinals 3. And here's Carlos Marmol, the closer. But as you can see, just 19 out of 26, 7 blown saves, tied for the most of the majors, an ERA of almost 4. Way too many walks, Bulldog, for his manager's liking, I'm sure.
The strikeouts are outstanding. The walks very erratic at times, and usually the walks come in bunches.
Tony Campana in left field for Soriano. Mike Quade got the extra at bat for Soriano, got the home run. Now takes him out for defense. as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Lance Berkman will lead it off. A couple of strikeouts and a home run for Berkman tonight. Berkman's 3-run shot in the bottom of the 6th, all of the offense that the Cardinals have tonight. Woo. A foul ball as the bat helicopters up into the seats. Everybody appears to be okay.
And that's because of that protection of his right shoulder. As he swings and misses, he doesn't want to follow through with one hand and put the stress on the right shoulder, so he just lets go of the bat. Says, I'm not going to put the stress up there. I know I swung and missed.
And Marmol takes care of him on 3 pitches. When that slider's going, Oral, he's nasty.
Yeah, it just disappears on hitters, and the whole key is that he proves that he can throw a strike, and then they have to start almost at a point where when they're fully committed, it disappears. They have no shot.
David Freese, the batter, 1 for 3, doubled back in the 5th. The Cardinals had their opportunities in both the 7th and 8th, but hit into inning-ending double plays in both innings. One started by Castro, the shortstop. One started by Kerry Wood.
In 1st and 3rd and 1 out, 1 run down, had a 3-1 count, a 2-1 count. Runner was never going, and consequently they turned 2.
Look at the look on Freese's face after he chased that slider down and away. 1-2 the count.
3-run lead, 1-1 count. He doesn't want to walk me. He'll come right at me with a fastball. Nope. Slide piece.
Yadier Molina on deck for the Cardinals. They're 2 back of the Brewers at the moment in the National League Central. Milwaukee beating Houston 5-4 today. Pittsburgh losing again today, beaten by the Phillies 6-5 in 10 innings. Cincinnati got a win. Johnny Cueto and the Reds blanking San Francisco 9-0. The Reds sweeping the Giants after getting swept by the Mets. Freese lays off a slider to even up the count. Two. Up the middle and through, a base hit. So a man on. It's a start for the Cardinals with a 1 out, and the batter is Yadier Molina. Nothing's come easily for Mike Quade and the Cubs this year. Look at the numbers for Molina against Carlos Marmol. Now, any hitter, especially a right-handed hitter, could have those numbers against a guy with this kind of stuff. In foul territory and just beyond the reach of Carlos Pena.
The interesting thing is that they're holding the runner on at first base. You get a little bloop like this and jammed. There should have been an out. Pena's behind him at first. This is not an outstretch just missed. He catches that. He's actually under the ball because he's 6-8 feet behind the runner at first base. He's in a stance where it'll be easier to turn and go.
So why is he holding him on?
I have no idea.
In the air to shallow center. And a long run in for Bird to make the catch for the second out.
Again, when Earl says he has no idea, the reason you think you wouldn't hold him on there is because you have a 3-run lead. The guy on deck is the guy you're worrying about, and you need 2 more outs to go home. So you don't want to create a hole there that's going to allow the tying run to come up. And you want to give your defense the best opportunity to get those last 2 outs before the tying run comes up. So now you'll see that Pena will be playing behind the runner here. The only reason he wasn't with 1 out is because they were thinking about a double play, and again, you can't play for double plays.
Here's Descalso, and no first baseman holding a runner on, even if he jumps off early, has the ability to get back into a proper fielding position in
well,
time.
You see when he's behind him right now, he's gained about 6-8 feet from where he was before. He was inside the runner and inside the baseline, farther from that pop-up.
It's managerial preference. A lot of times they say if you play behind the runner as he is now, that the runner could just steal second. Then there's an earned run if it's a base hit, or you take the double play out of the way. But I like to play those outs one at a time. You have 1 out in the 9th and a 3-run lead. Let's get the last 2.
The Cardinals have defeated the Cubs 6 consecutive times this year, their longest winning streak in 1 season against their arch rivals since the 2000 season. Down to their final out. The Cardinals are right now in the bottom of the 9th. 3-1 the count on Descalso with a pinch hitter, Corey Patterson, a newcomer to St. Louis, picked up in the deal with the Blue Jays, waiting in the on-deck circle, hoping that he'll get a chance. 3-2. Another newcomer, Rafael Furcal, who pinch hit tonight. Bounced into a fielder's choice. Freese will be on the move. Swing and a miss, and it's over. The Cubs avoid the sweep as they beat the Cardinals 6-3 tonight. Ryan Dempster gets the win. Jake Westbrook takes the loss after both pitched so well early in the game. Westbrook perfect through the first 5 innings, but gets the loss. Carlos Marmol with save number 20 tonight. Chevrolet player of the game is Ryan Dempster, who goes 6+ innings, gives up 3 runs, walks 1, strikes out 6, and evens up his record at 8-8. So the way things look right now in the National League Central after this loss by the Cardinals tonight is a little bit bigger of a lead for the Milwaukee Brewers, who are now 2.5 up on St. Louis. And guess who's coming to Miller Park tomorrow night? The Cardinals and Brewers open up a 3-game series tomorrow night. Pirates 4.5 back, Reds 6.5 back. Final score from Busch Stadium: the Cubs 6, the Cardinals 3. Up next on ESPN Sports Center. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Oral Hershiser, Bobby Valentine, Buster Olney, Wendy Nixon, our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Shulman saying thanks for watching and so long from St. Louis.